بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مرحبا بكم مشاهدي ومحبي ومتابعي قناة كليب أكسيس. في هذا الفيديو الذي قمنا فيه بترجمة تصريح وزير الهجرة الكندي ماركو مينديتشينو الذي قام به يوم الجمعة 30 أكتوبر 2020، أين وضح أو أشار إلى أن كندا بحاجة إلى جلب أكثر من 400 ألف مهاجر جديد قبل نهاية سنة 2021، بالإضافة إلى 100 ألف طالب جامعي للدراسة في كندا. طبعا مشاهدينا الأعزاء، قبل أن نبدأ في ترجمة الفيديو الرابط موجود أسفل هذا الفيديو بخصوص هذا المقال، وكذا كل ما يخص المواضيع المهمة هنا باللون الأزرق التي تخص الهجرة إلى كندا وشروحات لمختلف برامج الهجرة إلى كندا. أريد الإشارة إلى أنه من لم يهاجر في 2021 إلى كندا فلن يهاجر أبدا إلى كندا، لأنه راح تكون الإجراءات سهلة والشروط في متناول الجميع. وبدون إطالة مشاهدينا الأعزاء، نترككم مع ترجمة تصريح وزير الهجرة الكندي.
Today in Parliament, I was honored to table our 2021 to 2023 immigration levels plan, our roadmap for the next 3 years. The key to both short-term economic recovery and long-term prosperity is immigration. And that's exactly what the plan lays out. A vision to increase our numbers a little every year over the next 3 years. Travel restrictions and other constraints have led to a shortfall in admissions this year, which is why our plan increases immigration over the next 3 years. We aim to welcome 401,000 permanent residents in 2021, 411,000 in 2022, and 421,000 in 2023. With nearly 60% of all new admissions in the economic class, our plan will continue to focus on Canada's economic growth. Our plan is focused on getting the talented people we need and where we need them. Communities with the most immigration consistently see the fastest growth, which is why we're building on the success of our recent pilots and favoring community-based selection models to attract more newcomers to our smaller cities and rural regions across Canada. Keeping families together is important, which is why we will continue to support family reunification. And we will uphold our Canadian values by broadening economic pathways for refugees with the skills to hit the ground running and maintaining our global commitment to protecting the world's most vulnerable. As we focus on rebuilding our economy, we're also mindful that Canada faces the stark challenge of a rapidly aging workforce. In 1971, there were roughly 7 workers for every retiree. Today, there are 4. By 2035, there will only be 2 workers for every retiring Canadian. If this rate continues, Canada will have to pay 40% more for the services like healthcare that we enjoy today. Put simply, we need more workers, and immigration is the way to get there. En termes simples, nous avons besoin de plus de travailleurs et l'immigration est le moyen d'y parvenir. 1 in 3 Canadian businesses, just like this one, are owned by immigrants, creating over 250,000 jobs from restaurants to construction to retail. Many other dynamic and highly skilled workers also help Canadian businesses to grow, and they too help create jobs in the process. It's no coincidence that Canada's greatest eras of economic expansion, from the turn of the 20th century to the post-World War II boom to the impressive growth of the past 5 years, coincided with significant immigration. When our population grows, our economy grows, and all Canadians benefit. Canadians understand that, in spite of the challenges of this pandemic, our immigration system is a competitive advantage that drives Canada's success. Well, it's a very good question, and my response is simple. Immigrants create jobs. 1 in 3 business owners is owned by an immigrant, like Joe. Those business owners are creating hundreds of thousands of jobs, over 250,000 people who are working thanks to the entrepreneurialism, the hard work, the ethic, and the perseverance like we heard from Joe today. Immigrants are putting food on the tables of Canadians, they're taking care of our seniors, and they are driving the economy of tomorrow. And at no time in recent history has that been more important than in the context of this pandemic. And so what this plan does is it lays out a future vision for growth, economic recovery through immigration. The rural and northern immigration pilot is one of a series of pilots that we have introduced, including the Atlantic immigration pilot, which has been one of the unqualified successes at distributing immigration to those parts of Canada that need it the most. The reason why these pilots are working is because we are collaborating very closely with municipal and provincial partners, as well as business leaders who are on the ground. And by doing so, we learn more quickly what are the immediate needs of the communities, for instance, in Thunder Bay, or perhaps in Halifax, or perhaps in St. John's, and elsewhere in Canada, where we want to attract more immigrants. And so that's the purpose of these pilots, and we will continue to make good progress on the rural and northern immigration pilot going forward.
Can you give us any details on any other initiatives you plan to take to successes?
Well, in addition to the two pilots that I just mentioned, it was part of our last campaign platform to introduce a municipal nominee program. I'm very pleased to tell you that we have been consulting rather extensively with my provincial counterparts, as well as business leaders, as well as settlement service providers. And this will be another way in which we can encourage and foster more immigration to those parts of the country where they are starved for people. They want to have hardworking people, people like Chef Joe, who come with a dream and who come holding out the promise to give back to their communities. That has been the singular most impressive hallmark of Canadian history. This plan today is a vision, but it also reflects who we were, who we are, and who we want to be in the future. And that's why I'm so optimistic about tabling this plan today in Parliament.
Thank you. Nasib. Retour maintenant à la salle. We'll come back to the room now. Next question, Stephanie Levin from Canadian Press.
La salle
If only it was a room. Okay.
That's right. Welcome to our outdoor chamber.